We're back with Middle East Now. More on Jerusalem with journalist Jamil Hassan is with us from Abu Dhabi tonight. Good evening to you.
Good evening too.
And Mr. Gonen Ben Yitzhak, formerly from Israel's Security Services, also from Israel with us tonight. Good evening to you, Gonen.
Hi, good evening.
Okay, let me start with you, Jamil, in Abu Dhabi. I can tell you that Israeli officials are very disappointed and frustrated that their case is not even being considered, being that Israel was not the cause of violence, but rather tried to restore order. Why then did the UAE decide to reprimand the Israeli ambassador, would you say?
Well, first I tell you, calling on your ambassador reprimand, or these are the norms of diplomatic tactics. First of all, the holy month of Ramadan is ongoing. Muslims are praying, and this is the most holiest month in Islamic calendar. So, you know, the religious sentiments are doubled in this month. Mm-hmm. And during this month, the holy place in Islamic calendar is Mecca and Medina. After that, there is Jerusalem, al-Aqsa Mosque. So it is considered as third holiest place in Islamic sentiments. The worshippers were peaceful, or they were not peaceful, they were praying inside. But the issue is we see some videos of Israeli police. They are beating worshippers while they are praying. So these sentiments you cannot control, and the videos going viral worldwide. The world is watching, Muslims are watching, Christians are watching. You cannot hide sun with one finger. So the world is watching everything, what is going on inside Al-Aqsa Mosque. The peaceful worshippers were beaten, they were hit, rubber bullets were used. So they can treat them very well in other way. But we believe, everyone believe what they see in the videos.
Yeah. Gonen Ben Yitzhak, you see that the perception outside Israel is very much different. Our friend here says these were peaceful worshippers inside the mosque. But the picture in Israeli eyes is totally different. What do you say about that?
I think that the truth is lying somewhere between the two groups. Yes, Israel is somehow changing the status quo in Temple Mount. I personally went to Temple Mount March 3rd, and I saw a group of religious Jews that go to Temple Mount, try all the time to pray there, and all the time there are issues with the police. Saying that, when you see youngsters in the mosque taking rocks, throwing rocks against policemen and against other religious people down there, you cannot say that these are only peaceful people that came to pray. And I think that, unfortunately, both sides right now are controlled by extremists among Palestinians and among Israelis. Right now, the only extremists decide what will be next.
Jamil, I want to ask you about the future. Okay, so the ambassador was summoned. Is this something temporary, just a temporary setback, or do you see any long-term effect on the relationships between the UAE and Israel?
You know, ongoing tensions between Russia and Ukraine, everyone is looking after a Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and United Arab Emirates to provide them with oil. So all eyes on Middle East. Middle East is very important in such space to bring peace between Russia and Ukraine. Thus, the role of United Arab Emirates is very vital. What steps they are taking, everyone is looking after them, that how it will impact the whole region. In such way, during the holy month of Ramadan, standing stance on Palestine Palestinian people, it's a huge setback. For me, it's a huge setback, especially after Ibrahim occurred. But these are diplomatic norms. It happens, especially when you see a lot of people pressuring you through social media, through international media. Everyone is criticizing Middle East for their silence over the issue of Palestine. So this comes after a long time that they are standing by Palestinian people. I don't know the host name, with all due respect. He said that all the worshippers, whoever goes inside the al-Aqsa Mosque, they have stones, they are young. Yes, they may be young, they may carry stones. We don't see them, but Al-Aqsa Mosque in Jerusalem is under Israel control. So you have troops, you have police out there. You can check them. After checking them, you can let them in to pray. These are under control of Israel. Israel hands.
Yeah, it's a long argument here, because according to Israeli police, these people came in advance. They slept over inside the mosque. They brought stones and other kind of weapons. But we're not going to get into this. I want to ask you, Gonen, maybe Israel underestimated the sensitivity and should have played it a little differently, especially in terms of explaining what's going on.
But it looks like we've been in this whole movie last year. We know how sensitive is the Ramadan month. We know how sensitive are the pictures of police going into Temple Mount, sometimes beating women, sometimes beating photographers. We know all that, and I start to think, why again and again the Israeli police finds itself in the Temple Mount with the people that were sleeping there, bringing rocks in advance. We know all that, so the Israeli police had the ability to stop it in advance, and somehow, I must admit, is someone in the Israel police, or maybe Jerusalem police, is happy with this situation? Because we've been there. We know what happened last year. Why do we need to be in the same place after a year, after we had a war in Gaza, when we know that everything is sensitive? And now we're very surprised. Hey, Temple Mount
because
is a very
it's such a hot
place.
potato. Nobody wants to do anything about it. Apparently, I don't know. Thank you, Gonen. I'm going to ask you, Jamil, to the point that Gonen made, that the extremists are actually calling the shots. All of this is playing into the hands of the extremists at the end of the game.
Exactly. We are aware the ongoing situations in Israel, the terror attacks which are happening from last 2 or 3 weeks. It doesn't reconcile the things with Al-Aqsa or Temple Mount. It should have been in a good way, in another way, because the extremist comes only within Israel or within Palestine. It's under Israel control. Whoever they want to control, they can control. But the issue is, how can you treat such things inside the holiest places like Temple of Mount and Al-Aqsa Mosque? These are the holiest place. So if there is ongoing tensions in such areas, you must be very careful. You have to double check with such situation and ask from your relevant authorities what to do accordingly, because international media is giving you coverage. There are photographers, there are reporters who look after you. Any action you are taking, the whole world sees you. So I believe that Israel police officials, they should be much more careful than what they did for last week.
And still, maybe governments should be a little bit more moderate and more responsible, and take consider things more heavily before giving the extremists the play of the day.
Extremists cannot be controlled by any government or any groups. They cannot be controlled. At the end, they will do what they want. But the good thing is, if a big country like United Arab Emirates is taking your side, it means that you have to listen to them as well. If United Arab Emirates saying to the worshippers that go to the Al-Aqsa Mosque, pray 5 times a day, pray your salat, tarawih, everything with peaceful, without arms, without any stones carrying. So this would be a very good message, and it should have been, because in Islam, this is not compulsory that you have to bring stones into the mosque. It's not in that way, but maybe some are portraying that they are bringing stones.